Tybee Island Lighthouse, a beacon of history and hauntings. Rising stoically above the windswept sands of Georgia's easternmost barrier island, the Tybee Island Lighthouse has stood as a silent sentinel for nearly 3 centuries. For generations of sailors, it was a guiding light through the dangerous waters surrounding the entrance to the Savannah River. For residents and visitors, it became a symbol of coastal resilience and enduring history. But for some, Tybee Light holds a deeper mystery, one that lies beyond the veil of the physical world. Over the years, the lighthouse has developed a reputation not only for its architectural and historical significance, but also for the supernatural occurrences that seem to permeate its weathered walls and surrounding grounds. The Tybee Island Lighthouse's origins trace back to the early 18th century. In 1733, General James Oglethorpe founded the colony of Georgia, and recognizing the strategic importance of Tybee Island, he ordered the construction of a navigational marker in 1736. This first structure was a wooden daymark standing roughly 90 feet tall. Its purpose was simple: serve as a daytime visual reference for sailors entering the Savannah River. However, nature proved unforgiving. The original daymark was destroyed by a storm in 1741. A second wooden tower rose in its place the following year, this time with structural improvements. But even reinforced wood could not endure the challenges of coastal erosion and high tides, and that structure too succumbed to the elements. A more permanent solution came in 1773, when colonial authorities completed a 100-foot brick tower. This lighthouse marked a significant advancement, outfitted with whale oil lamps and reflectors that allowed it to cast a light visible from offshore. It stood its ground through the Revolutionary War, but faced a persistent threat: the relentless erosion of Tybee's shoreline. The Civil War brought destruction to many American landmarks, and the Tybee Lighthouse was no exception. As Union forces approached the Georgia coast, Confederate troops retreated from Tybee Island in December 1861. Before leaving, they intentionally damaged the lighthouse, destroying the upper 40 feet to keep it from aiding Union naval operations. After the war ended, the federal government prioritized reconstruction of vital navigational aids. In 1867, a new lighthouse was completed, using the surviving base of the 1773 tower. Engineers added a 60-foot extension of new brick, increasing the total height to 144 feet. More importantly, the updated structure was equipped with a first-order Fresnel lens, a revolutionary optical device capable of projecting light up to 18 miles out to sea. This post-war reconstruction did more than restore a beacon. It renewed the lighthouse's role in maritime safety at a time when commerce and travel were booming. Over the decades, the lighthouse weathered hurricanes, high winds, and saltwater exposure. The keeper's quarters and ancillary buildings were modernized, creating a fully functional station that operated around the clock. The daily duties of a lighthouse keeper required a high degree of discipline and resilience. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, keepers and their families lived on site, responsible for ensuring the light remained operational under all conditions. Tasks included maintaining the oil lamps, cleaning soot from the lens, polishing brass, and later maintaining the early electrical systems. Keepers like George Washington Martus, who also served at the Elba Island Range Lights, helped establish the professional standard for Tybee's operations. Although less known than his sister Florence, the famous waving girl, George's dedication exemplified the unwavering vigilance required of the post. Living on the island meant enduring long stretches of isolation. Children were educated at home or in small community schools. Storms often cut off supplies and communication. Yet many keepers took pride in their work, forming a bond with the tower they tended. This personal connection, so steeped in duty and emotion, might explain why some say the lighthouse is still inhabited by the spirits of those who never truly left. By the early 20th century, automation was gradually transforming lighthouses across the United States. In 1933, electricity was introduced to the Tybee Island Lighthouse, replacing oil with electric lamps and reducing the workload of the keepers. In 1972, the US Coast Guard fully automated the facility, and the need for on-site personnel came to an end. What followed was a period of decline. With no residents maintaining the station daily, the lighthouse and its surrounding buildings began to deteriorate. Salt air rusted metal components, storms weakened wooden structures, and vandals left their mark. In 1999, the Tybee Island Historical Society took ownership of the property, initiating a massive restoration effort. With the help of grants, donations, and volunteers, the lighthouse was returned to its former glory. Today, the tower still functions as a navigational aid, but it also serves as a museum open to the public. Visitors can climb its 178 steps, tour the meticulously restored keepers' cottages, and explore exhibits on maritime history. But something else emerged during these preservation efforts: an increasing number of reports describing unexplained activity in and around the lighthouse. The restoration of the Tybee Lighthouse in the late 1990s didn't just bring new paint and fresh tourists, it awakened something else. As staff and visitors returned, so too did the stories. Ghostly whispers, phantom footsteps, and flickering lights soon became regular occurrences. The most prominent ghost said to haunt the grounds is that of a former lighthouse keeper. Described by witnesses as a tall man in a dark coat, his presence is often felt in the tower's upper reaches. Visitors climbing the spiral staircase have reported the feeling of being watched or accompanied by unseen footsteps echoing behind them. Some have even glimpsed a shadowy figure at the top, only to find no one there when they reach the final landing. Another enduring legend centers around a little girl in a white dress, believed to be the daughter of a keeper who perished after falling down the staircase in the 1800s. Her playful spirit is said to linger in the keeper's quarters, where giggling and running footsteps have been heard when no children were present. One evening, a tour guide closing up for the night heard a soft lullaby being sung from the upstairs hallway. When she checked the rooms, they were empty. As she turned to descend the stairs, a childlike figure appeared briefly in the mirror and then vanished. The next morning, other staff shared that they too had heard a child singing in that same hallway. The lens room itself is another hotspot for paranormal activity. Guests have reported sudden cold spots in an otherwise stifling space and unexplained pressure on their chests. A former maintenance worker recalled seeing a dim, flickering lantern light circling the gallery walk. Yet the power was off. When he climbed the stairs to investigate, he felt a heaviness descend on him, causing shortness of breath and a feeling of dread that lifted only when he stepped outside. These stories, while difficult to verify, are recounted with striking consistency. The detail and emotion conveyed by witnesses, many of whom had no prior knowledge of the site's haunted reputation, only add to their credibility. Over the last 2 decades, Tybee Island Lighthouse has drawn the attention of numerous paranormal investigators. Organizations such as the Georgia Paranormal Research Team and South Coast Spirit Society have spent long nights inside the tower and its adjacent buildings using scientific equipment in search of evidence. One investigation produced electronic voice phenomenon that clearly whispered the words, "Keep the light," in response to a question posed in the tower. The same group documented unexplained electromagnetic fluctuations near the base of the lighthouse, despite the absence of power lines or electronic interference in that location. A separate group visiting in 2016 during the anniversary of a major hurricane recorded disembodied moaning and the faint sound of boots on the metal stair treads. Thermal cameras picked up a humanoid heat signature in the tower when it was empty. Most compelling were the direct responses during spirit box sessions. When asked, "Who is here with us?" the words, "Samuel, Keeper," came through the static, a name that corresponds with a 19th century lighthouse keeper listed in historical records. Photos taken during investigations show light anomalies and misty shapes resembling human forms. These photos, though not conclusive on their own, gain weight when paired with personal experiences. One investigator reported that her flashlight repeatedly turned off by itself in the oil storage house. Each time she exited the structure, it began working again. Another event occurred during a nighttime public ghost tour when multiple guests reported hearing a piano playing in the keeper's house. There is no piano in the building. The sound reportedly stopped the moment a staff member entered to investigate. Later, an elderly visitor shared that her grandmother, whose father had been stationed there, used to play piano for her siblings every evening. Her family once lived in the very room where the music was heard. These chilling accounts, while subjective, build a compelling case that Tybee Lighthouse is not just historically significant, but paranormally active. Beyond the investigators and staff, the most powerful ghost stories often come from everyday people. Local residents, former docents, and unsuspecting tourists. The accounts are not always dramatic, but their sincerity leaves a lasting impression. One Tybee Island resident who worked as a weekend volunteer in the museum claimed she frequently smelled pipe smoke near the stairs, even though smoking has been banned on the premises for years. She would also find the doors unlocked in the morning, despite locking them herself the night before. Several tour guides have shared similar experiences. One guide recalled giving a late afternoon tour when a small girl in a white dress appeared beside the group. The guide asked the child to return to her parents, but when she turned to point, the girl had vanished. A father on the tour asked if the girl was part of the presentation. His son had been holding her hand just moments before. Children, in particular, seem to sense more than adults. A young boy visiting with his parents insisted that the sad man in the lighthouse was worried about the light not working. He pointed toward the oil house and said, "He goes in there to check things, but he's stuck." The child's parents dismissed it as imagination until another visitor overheard and confirmed a similar story from her own visit a year earlier. Some families who live nearby have their own traditions tied to the lighthouse. One family believes that their grandfather's spirit, a retired keeper, returns to the site each year on his birthday. They claim photos taken during their visits often show orbs and, in one case, the faint silhouette of a man waving from the catwalk. Whether these are tricks of light or something more, they continue to visit in reverent silence every June. These stories are passed from generation to generation, contributing to a local oral history that gives life and continuity to Tybee's supernatural reputation. Lighthouses have long served as metaphors in human culture, symbols of hope, perseverance, and spiritual watchfulness. In many traditions, they are considered thin places, locations where the boundary between the physical and spiritual world is unusually permeable. Tybee Island Lighthouse, with its storied past, emotional legacy, and isolated geographic position, fits this definition perfectly. It marks the border between land and sea, life and death, isolation and connection. Its keepers endured hardship, isolation, and tragedy. Its light has guided sailors away from danger for centuries. Perhaps it is this cumulative emotional energy, fueled by memory, sacrifice, and longing, that gives the place its supernatural weight. The lighthouse is more than brick and mortar. It is a vessel for memory. Some believe these memories echo louder at night, carried on ocean winds and whispered through rustling palmettos. Whether one sees this through a spiritual lens or as the psychological residue of strong emotional events, the result is the same. Tybee Light continues to speak. Unlike some historic sites that downplay ghost stories to maintain a strictly academic profile, the Tybee Island Historical Society embraces its lighthouse's dual identity. While their primary mission is preservation and education, they understand that the paranormal brings a broader audience to the site. Seasonal ghost tours are now part of the lighthouse's programming. These tours share both confirmed historical facts and the most well-documented hauntings. Guests climb the tower after dark, hear accounts of shadow figures and disembodied voices, and occasionally have their own unexplained experiences. A portion of proceeds from these events funds further restoration and educational programs. This blending of history and mystery has not diluted the academic integrity of the museum, it has enhanced it. Visitors come for the ghosts, but leave with an appreciation for the historical sacrifices made by lighthouse keepers and their families. Paranormal interest has also brought media attention, leading to segments on travel shows, podcasts, and even paranormal investigation series. By weaving ghost lore into its educational mission, Tybee Island Lighthouse has ensured its relevance in the 21st century, proving that history need not be dry to be deeply meaningful. Today, the Tybee Island Lighthouse stands as one of the best preserved and most actively visited lighthouses in the United States. It is a functioning aid to navigation, a museum, a historic monument, and, if you believe the stories, a haunted site where the past lingers. It reminds us that history is not static. The lives lived within its walls, the tragedies and triumphs it has witnessed, and the countless souls who found solace in its light continue to reverberate through time. Whether one visits for its breathtaking views, its historical insight, or its ghostly tales, the Tybee Island Lighthouse offers an unforgettable experience. It teaches us that light and shadow exist side by side, that the brightness of a beacon often casts the longest shadows, and in those shadows, stories wait to be heard. The Tybee Island Lighthouse is a rare convergence of historical preservation and spectral intrigue. As a beacon, it has served sailors faithfully for centuries. As a cultural landmark, it educates and inspires, and as a haunted site, it beckons those who seek to understand the world beyond. Through both its documented past and whispered legends, Tybee Light continues to illuminate not just the waters off the Georgia coast, but the very human need to connect with history, mystery, and the unknown. Today, the Tybee Island Lighthouse and Museum offers an unforgettable experience to all who visit. Open to the public year-round, it invites guests to step into history by climbing to the top of the tower, touring the restored keepers' cottages, and exploring maritime exhibits. Whether you come for the history, the view, or the thrill of encountering something unexplained, the site offers something for everyone. To support its ongoing preservation, visitors are encouraged to donate to the Tybee Island Historical Society, the non-profit organization that maintains and operates the site. Donations directly fund restoration efforts, educational programs, and continued upkeep of the lighthouse and its grounds. Contributions can be made through their official website or in person during a visit, helping to ensure that Tybee's iconic beacon continues to shine for future generations.